It's 2 a.m. Your thumb is moving before your brain even wakes up. 94 unread notifications. 43 story views. A little red dot on an app you don't even remember opening. Someone liked a photo you posted 11 months ago. And somewhere in that pile, buried under hearts and fire emojis, is a message from someone you haven't actually spoken to in 3 years, but who still, technically, counts as a friend. You keep scrolling, not because you want to, because stopping means sitting in the silence. And in that silence, one question surfaces, uninvited, and it's brutal in its simplicity. If something actually went wrong right now, if you needed someone to just show up, who would you call? Not who would like the post about it tomorrow. Who would you call? And for a terrifying number of people reading this right now, that list has one name on it, maybe none. Sit with that for a second. Because here is the paradox that defines an entire generation. We are the most connected human beings in the history of our species. We can reach a stranger on another continent in under a second, and yet we are living through the most severe loneliness epidemic ever recorded. Not despite the connection, because of it. How does that even happen? How do you end up with 1,000 friends and 0 people? Let's actually take this apart, because once you see the mechanics, you cannot unsee them. Start here, with what I call pseudo-intimacy. Your brain, biologically, cannot tell the difference between a real relationship and the simulation of one. When you watch someone live stream their morning routine, when you catch their daily story, when you maintain a 200-day snap streak with someone whose voice you couldn't pick out of a lineup, your nervous system logs that as social contact. It feels like closeness. It has the texture of intimacy, familiarity, updates, inside jokes, even the illusion of being known. But it's a simulation running on empty calories. Real intimacy requires something these interactions are specifically engineered to avoid: vulnerability. The version of you that gets scared, that cries at a bad time, that says the wrong thing and has to sit in that discomfort with another human being who saw it happen. Parasocial connection and algorithm-fed familiarity give you the warmth of closeness without ever asking you to be truly known. So you feel surrounded, and you are still, quietly, starving. Here's the second piece, and this one's sneakier: the frictionless friendship trap. Texting gave us a superpower we never asked for: the ability to edit ourselves, delay a response until we've composed the perfect one, leave someone on read until we've figured out how to feel, ghost without ever having to watch the hurt land on someone's face in real time. That sounds like control. It's actually atrophy. Because real friendship, the kind that saves your life at 2 a.m., is built entirely out of unedited moments. The awkward pause, the wrong thing said too fast, the face-to-face silence that nobody rescues with a meme. When you spend years practicing only the curated version of connection, the raw, unpredictable real-time version starts to feel less like discomfort and more like actual danger. That's why texting someone feels easy and calling them feels like a small act of bravery. That's why making plans feels lighter than actually going. We haven't just gotten worse at face-to-face connection. We've trained our nervous systems to read it as a threat. Now, quick, honest audit. Right now, pick up your phone. Look at your followers, your matches, your contacts, every single name in there. And ask yourself, out of all of them, how many actually know what you're struggling with today? Not what you posted, what you're actually carrying. If that number is less than 2, comment the word real. Just that. One word. Because I promise you, you are not going to be alone in that comment section. Not even close. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable, because this next part isn't something that happened to us. It's something we built and defended on purpose. Somewhere in the last decade, self-care culture, which started as something genuinely necessary, quietly mutated into something else. Protect your peace became cut off anyone who inconveniences you. You don't owe anyone an explanation became permission to disappear without one. We started treating boundaries and accountability as opposites, when real relationships have always required both. At the same time, we stopped building community and started building a brand. A feed. A highlight reel optimized for an audience instead of a life shared with a few real people. And once you're managing an audience, everyone around you suddenly becomes either content or competition. You compare your unfiltered Tuesday to someone else's curated highlight, and you walk away feeling like you're the only one who's behind, the only one struggling, when in reality, everyone's holding the exact same phone, feeling the exact same thing. We didn't get lonely by accident. We optimized for individual protection so hard, we engineered the closeness right out of our own lives. So let me ask you something, and take a real second before you answer. When was the last time you hung out with a friend and didn't check your phone once? Didn't feel that itch to document it, post it, prove it happened? Just existed with another person, fully there, nothing performed? If you had to think hard to answer that, that's not a small thing. That's information. Here's what I need you to take from all of this. Loneliness right now isn't a personal failure. It's not because you're awkward or too much or unlikable. It's the predictable output of systems engineered to hold your attention, not your heart. You are not broken for feeling this. You are responding exactly the way any human would to an environment built to simulate connection while quietly withholding it. But here's the part that actually matters, the part that puts the power back in your hands. If pseudo-intimacy was built by convenience, real intimacy gets rebuilt by choice. One risk at a time. One phone call instead of a text. One time you let the silence sit instead of filling it with a screen. One friend you let see you unfiltered, on purpose, even though it's terrifying. That 1,000-follower number was never going to save you at 2 a.m. But one real name in your phone, one person who actually knows what you're carrying, that can change everything. And if you're sitting there right now realizing that the real reason you avoid the phone call, avoid the plans, avoid the vulnerability, isn't the loneliness itself, it's the anxiety underneath it, the constant overthinking, the fear of being too much or not enough. That's not a separate problem. That's the next thing we need to talk about. Because understanding why your mind won't let you rest, even when nothing is technically wrong, changes everything about how you fix this.